Hey everybody, I thought I'd give you a quick update on my vegetable garden. And so you can see I've got several tomato plants planted here. And I don't think that I went through the steps of whenever I transplanted these. So just to catch you up to speed, what I did was I started with tomato plants that I purchased that were already grown. I didn't grow my own seeds or anything like that. But so I started with tomato plants and I planted them probably the weekend right before Mother's Day weekend. And when I planted them, they were only like probably 4 or 5 inches tall. And so today is the 7th of June, and you can see how much my tomato plants have grown. And so I'll show you that we even have, look, isn't that amazing? I already have some tomatoes coming on the vine, so I'm really excited about that, because when I first planted these tomatoes, I was really worried because they were starting to look like they had tomato leaf curl or something. The leaves were curling up and they weren't looking super healthy, but I don't know, maybe it was just transplant shock. But anyway, they're looking very well. I got them tied up, so we have this fence that we put in the middle of our bed. It's just a piece of cattle panel held on by some posts. It's wired and attached to posts, and then I just take some twine, and I'll kind of show you here. I got them all tied up today. So I take some twine and I just wrap it around the tomato stem and bring it back up to my cattle fence and just tie a knot. And that gives the plant some support so that it doesn't fall over. And I do that, you know, to all of my tomato plants. So that's this bed. And then, so basically what I have here is I've got, these are some celebrity tomatoes on this side. And then over here, I have some early girls over here. This side I have some beefsteak. So they should be pretty large tomatoes. And over here I have some Goliath tomatoes, and it looks like all of these tomatoes are already starting to get some tomatoes on them. And then on this bed over here, let's see, I planted, what did I plant over here? In this bed I have some Rutgers that I have here. And down here I have more, so this whole row here is Rutgers. So, and then this is my little Sun Sugar cherry tomato, and it's getting some little tomatoes on it. So, and then I have 2 Roma tomatoes. And then I did plant some cilantro. I have some cilantro coming up here in between my tomatoes. And on the other bed I have a couple little basil plants. This is a volunteer tomato that came up. So I'm just gonna let it grow. This is my jalapeno pepper. But this bed is my onions, and for whatever reason, I do not know what happened here. But I have onions that the tops just died off. And so if you remember from my earlier video, my plan was to plant peppers and onions together. And so this row of onions is doing much better than that one. And then here's my pepper plants, which they're looking better, but I don't know. The pepper plants, you can see it's got some browning on the leaves. I don't know why these pepper plants are struggling so much. So I put some fertilizer on there today, and we're supposed to get some rain later today and over the course of the next week. So I'm hoping that the rain will really help improve the garden as far as getting everything to grow. Here I have 3 cucumber plants that are starting to come up nicely. I've got a little bit of dill right here. I planted some chives, but they did not grow. This is a small patch of beets I've got going on here. And I'm hoping that the rain will really help those to start popping up. This is my acorn squash. Here is my zucchini. I've got 3 zucchini plants. Those 2 are a little bit close together, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'll get what I can off of it. And then we sowed this whole box right here. We sowed some beans. This is a bush bean. I think these are contenders. And they're coming up a little bit sparse, but I think it'll be plenty. I don't know why. Again, you can see I've got some browning, like some of the leaves are turning brown here, but I'm hoping it'll get some rain and things will start looking a lot better. But let me explain a little bit, you know, why. I mean, this looks like a lot of tomato plants, especially we're a household of 2, and so you can see this is quite a few tomato plants. So if you're wondering, you know, what I'm going to do with all these tomatoes, I don't know if you have noticed how much tomatoes and tomato products the prices have increased in the grocery stores. If you don't know why, I would suggest you do some research and look up the reasons why tomato prices are going up. It's a combination of things. A lot of our tomato products are imported from Mexico. Some of them are from Florida. But there was, I think, some freezing that happened in the Florida area that affected the price of tomato plants, or not tomato plants, but tomato products. And also tariffs that were put on the tomatoes coming from Mexico that has caused an increase in the price. So my plan will be to harvest the tomatoes and can tomatoes as much as possible. And I haven't canned any tomatoes, I think, for 2 years, but I usually do tomato juice, and this year I would really love to can more tomato juice, maybe some salsa, and I don't know, maybe even tomato paste. We'll just have to see how the harvest goes and what I decide to, you know, try. But for sure we will do some more tomato juice. And if you've never had your own home canned tomato juice, I can't tell you how much better it tastes than store-bought anyway. So that's the plan. Let me take you over here and show you my sunflowers. So this is that little tiny wildflower bed that I had planted, and So my sunflowers are about 2.5 feet tall at this point, and I also sowed a bunch of flowers in the bottom and just some various flowers coming up there. So hopefully they will start blooming. And then over here I planted some Mexican sunflowers, I think that's what they were called, as well as some zinnias, and they are coming up nicely. I've got some marigolds that I saved seeds from last year, and they are coming up quite nicely. Got some blooms on there. More will be blooming soon, so hopefully with the rain we'll see those just take off. And then I'll take you over here to my little flower bed, and we've got some bee balm. Have a bunch of cone flowers getting ready to bloom. These are cone flowers. I don't know what these are. I can't remember, but we got these hostas that are just taking over this bed. So, but look at this. We've got a cute little cone flower just getting ready to bloom. I think cone flowers might be my favorite. And then my pretty little rose bush. This is just a miniature rose. Get some of these dead things off of here. It's looking pretty good. These will all be blooming out soon. And again, my hostas, I think we'll transplant these somewhere else next year. They're just taking over, and these are some irises that have already bloomed. But that's it for now. That's the update on my garden, and I will hopefully make some videos in the future where I show you the progress of the garden, as well as maybe some items that I can. Have a great day.